Alright, in theory, we are live. Hello, everyone.
Yep, we're live.
We're bandwagoning. Well, I know Hafu's playing this right now, but as always, we can thank the inestimable Northern Lion for introducing me to backpack battles. You've seen games where you just move. You've seen games where you don't even move and attacks just happen. Now, this is a game where you don't move nor attack. All you do is buy things and do loot Tetris in your inventory.
Is a loot organization like literal Tetris?
Not literal Tetris, but it's like... It harkens back to the days of, like, old school Diablo, Deus Ex, like, all of the old school PC limited inventory.
All the fun stuff, yeah.
Without further ado, let's hop in while Jack checks whether or not we're actually live. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
I already checked, we're live.
Okay, good.
So this is certainly an interesting thing. Interesting game, by the look of things. I'm gonna have to look it up.
It's free right now.
Ooh. Well,
because this is just the demo. So, if you are into this, wishlisted on Steam.
Yeah.
Because it is absolutely free to play right now. I'm probably going to lose the first round because that's just how it goes. You either lose the first round or you, or rather you either, go for econ the first round or you go for victory. If you want to go for victory, you just buy a second weapon. And if you want to go for economy, then you just, buy things that you'll need later.
Sounds about right.
Oh no, someone's rocking the dual shovels already.
Dual wielding shovels, that's fun.
Well, currently they only have a broom and a pan, but those combine into a shovel.
They are using the fuck out of their stamina.
Yippee! Okay, well... And, and a...
Whipster, 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 whipster.
As you can see, I am something of a practiced hand at this game, so feel free to chat, because this is mostly brainless for me.
You've been dicking around with this for a hot minute, haven't you?
Jack, my rank is platinum. That's the highest rank I have in any online multiplayer game.
That is impressive, for to be certain.
I don't even know where the ranks go. Well, you say that, but I still lost.
Rip. Yes, so I was talking with, Bill the other day about, the impasse we reached while we were doing the tier list for, the One Piece characters. And,
We reached an impasse?
Well, you know what I mean, the whole heated debate we were getting into about, that got us stuck at the end of the stream. For a hot minute.
Okay, yes. Go on.
I was thinking there was a way that we could resolve that relatively easily.
Go on.
Either adding a tier or by renaming a tier, and the new tier would be quote unquote mid/controversial, with no indication as to which reasoning would be given for why a character was placed in that tier.
I mean, I guess.
Not sold on it?
I'm not particularly invested either way, mostly because I've long since learned that with character stuff, my opinion tends to be something that requires compromise, shall we say.
Yeah, I've been there.
But yeah, I've been thinking. We all know how
Always a good
dangerous
sign.
that can be.
Yeah, it's always a good sign.
But what I was thinking is, under the circumstances, we can probably get away with, like, making that tier. But if we were, like, a slightly... If we had any viewership whatsoever, let's say, we could have put it down to an audience poll.
Yes, that is true. Unfortunately, we do not have that advantage.
Well, we don't have an audience, but that doesn't mean we don't necessarily have the capacity to do some sort of poll.
I'm not saying we don't have the ability to do so. I'm just saying, like, I don't think the audience that we have is sufficient to make a non-skewed poll.
No, that's correct.
Regardless, I do think we should include the tier. The question is where we should put the tier. Given, you know, the depth and breadth of the tier list as it is, and the fact that said tier would probably be, like, wildly variant in the quality of the characters, given that it also would house the controversial characters in addition to the mid ones. I do think it would probably fit best, like, roughly in the middle of the tier list. Since, you know, that's what mid means.
That, you are probably right there, yeah.
In which case, it would probably go between aggressively mediocre in style but no substance. Does that seem right to you?
Yeah.
Alright. I won't add it right now, but we can consult with Mill and see if he agrees with that.
Now, here's the real question.
Uh-huh.
What do you think is going to be our most controversial pick?
Ooh. Probably Sanji.
Really? Do people like Sanji? I guess he's a main character. It makes sense.
He is extremely popular, even if he's, like, yeah.
A sex pest.
Yeah, we're gonna put him a lot lower than most people probably would think is merited. And I'm okay with that.
We're getting into the real Loot Tetris now, boys.
I do love me some Tetris. Unfortunately, most of the mobile versions available on mobile are garbage, so... It is how it is.
Bit of a pickle here.
Well, you could put it up there, and then you'd be able to fit the... Is there, like, a certain rationale behind where you can fit things?
Well, they each take up a certain number of spaces.
I know that, but, like, is there, like, a certain, like...
Oh, yeah, no, things have synergies. Like, when you put things around each other, then... Like, for example, putting foods next to each other, the banana and the garlic makes them trigger faster.
Makes sense.
And every star item around the Falcon Blade also triggers 30% faster.
Okay, so many stars does the treasure chest have?
Well, no, it's not an item that triggers, but it's something I need because it's like... You know what? I can probably drop the potion for 1 round until I get more space.
So it just goes on autopilot?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's
deep up to fuck.
It's mostly a strategy game, all things considered.
Good to know.
Oh right, I forgot about this. I'm not really doing a spike build. I'm not really doing a nature build either. I think I'm gonna have. I'm not doing a specific build, is the issue here.
That sounds about right.
There is a method to my madness, however. We're also not doing the
methods.
We're also not doing the Goobert build, sadly.
The what now?
Don't worry about it. Just know that
the hanging sock pouch of the backpack.
Aha.
You're getting pretty stoned there, Fuzzy.
Look. Sometimes you need a little something to take the edge off, you know what I'm saying? This is a very stressful game at times. Inventory management can be very hectic.
Oh, I am well aware. Look, I've had to pack bags for campouts before. I know.
Oh no. Yeah, that's...
I was in Boy Scouts as a thing.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Honestly, it was not that bad.
Sure that's not the Stockholm Syndrome talking?
No, I genuinely enjoyed my time there for the most part.
You do you, brother.
Let's not say it was perfect, but... for the most part, it was,
acceptable, would you say?
yes. At worst, yes.
Well, that's good.
Oh, wow. Little, Gina, lamp. Wealth, fame, power.
They will fear my shiny stuff. Weird furry shop man. You were asking what a Goobert build is? This is Goobert. Say hello.
Hi, Goobert.
So... you have to get 5 separate Gooberts, and of which have, like, 4 evolutions.
Oh,
and,
so you're literally being a Pokemon master.
Yes, each Goobert has its own evolution that you kind of have to...
Yeah, I've backpacked before, so I know what the whole deal is with backpacking and arranging your camping equipment accordingly.
But, yeah, hang on, let me consult my list of stream topics that I have a tendency to come up with in the depths of my madness, and then...
Have you played with Madness before, Fuzzy? Like the song goes.
I wanted to, but then Madness's parents said I wasn't allowed anymore, because they don't like my kind.
Yeah,
Which is awfully racist of them if you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was doing a song reference thingamadoo.
I know. I've never heard the song, so I improvised.
Oh, okay. How much do you know about Iron Maiden?
That they exist.
Unfortunate. Iron Maiden's a good band.
I'm sure they are.
Just not your thing?
Not really. Well, it's not that I don't like metal, right? But I prefer power metal.
To
me,
so Dragon Force.
Yes, that is what people think of when they think power metal, but
they are kind of the most famous power metal band by quite a wide margin.
That they are, yes. But yeah, I do enjoy Dragon Force. They're not my favorite power metal band, though. What my favorite power metal band is a question that even I don't know the answer to necessarily.
No, that's fair.
Aha. There we go.
Ah, you think darkness is your ally? No, hold on. I gotta cover my mouth first. Ah, you think darkness is your ally? I was born in darkness. Molded by it. Sorry.
Yes,
the Bane joke. The Bane voice has always been funny to me.
Yes, something I did not see. Something until I was.
I did not see the sun until I was until I was a man. I believe was the whole quote.
Vampire gloves are better.
Positively glovely.
But yeah, I have a tendency to come up with good topics just at the oddest times. And as a result, I've made a habit of keeping a little notepad.
So have you checked your list twice?
Oh, okay. Here's one that I have that you're going to possibly. I don't know that you'll hate it, but you might not love it.
Good to know.
The topic is referred to in my notes as simply Pokemon consent.
Okay then.
Yeah. So the idea is this. And I am going to avoid the super literal game interpretations because okay, first of all, there's a something we should note. The games should not be taken as a literal interpretation of the Pokemon world. Here's why I say this. The games are very obviously sort of more of an analog than anything else. You know what I mean? Because, clearly they're not, life-sized. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so,
there's... Yeah.
So, there is a significant amount of leeway
to interpret things? With which to interpret things?
Yes. The reason this is relevant to our conversation is that what I am suggesting is that we use a multi-factor approach. So we consult not only the games, but also like the anime and stuff. Right? Does that make sense?
Makes sense. So, it's been a hot minute since I've watched or played anything Pokemon adjacent.
No,
I'm
that's understandable. That's, you are not alone in that.
You're in that same boat?
Yes. However, it's not hard to remember.
A lot of stuff isn't. No.
Yeah. So, in the Pokemon world, it is established that Pokemon can, in fact, be rebellious.
Yes.
And they can, if they so choose, escape Pokeballs and just, in general, not obey their trainer.
Yep.
At all times.
I mean, this is also integrated into the game a little bit, where it's like, if you have a Pokemon above a certain level and you don't have enough gym badges, they won't
listen to you, yeah.
Fully cooperative.
Yeah. So, what I suggest is there is a non-zero amount of consent involved. With regards to
the Pokemon trainer relationship.
Yes.
And just the actual relationship, not like any romantic or sexual dimension to it.
Yes. We'll get to that. But yes, so whenever people are like, ah yes, Pokemon, aka slavery, I'm like, on the one hand, I can see where they're coming from.
Yes, but at the same time, that's kind of bad faith reading.
It is very much a reductive reading of the thing in question. So, yeah, that's my... thank you for listening to my TED Talk on the fact that Pokemon do, in fact, consent to some extent to the Pokemon trainer relationship, and that in cases where they don't, generally, the people involved wouldn't, are, like, the bad guys, right?
Yep.
Like, generally, when we see a relationship in which the Pokemon does not consent to the Pokemon trainer relationship, the trainers in question are never stated to be anything but bad people.
Yeah, they're basically treated as people like the kinds of assholes who run dogfighting rings.
Yes.
Shit like that.
As opposed to, you know, actual reasonable human beings.
Well, that kind of goes without saying. Ah, Burbus.
Yes, the old Jinx tortilla.
Sword?
Huh?
Is that a Buster Sword?
Look, for legal reasons, we can't call it that.
So it's a Buster Sword?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Does that bird only go in one orientation?
No, but it is a directional three-piece, which is very hard to finagle. I'm not going to be able to hit everything I want to hit with my current arrangement of bag space, so... Well, actually, now that I think about it... No, there's no way I can finagle it, so I'll have to settle for this until I can get more bag space. But yeah, at no point is it implied that the... And you see this in, like, even in Detective Pikachu, which I believe is canon to the Pokemon universe.
More or less, yes.
Where it's like, it's always the weirdos that don't care about Pokemon consent. This is like very much a known quantity, shall we say.
Yes.
And so, I am basically saying, Pokemon can in fact consent, and they do in fact consent actively to many things. Now, that's not an excuse to, like, treat them badly. Now we're getting in a little bit too, involved in the argument, but at the same time, you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
And now let's get to the spicy part.
Oh boy.
In the event that Pokemon trainer relationships are largely consensual and are a more equal relation, they're not a master-servant relationship, they are more a relationship of equals.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still gross if you bang a Pokemon?
I think that depends on a number of factors.
Please elaborate.
Well, first and foremost, the appearance of the Pokemon and why that and how that would make them attractive to you.
Look, people are into all sorts of things.
I am aware of that, but in some cases, the appearance could make things a bit not great.
Are we really gonna get into the whole...
Holy shit, that's a big backpack.
Yeah, some people are luckier with bag space than others. Are we unironically gonna get into the whole, I swear, officer, she's actually,
Yes.
Okay. Tell me more.
Well, first of all, how do you determine how old a Pokemon is?
By their age.
Not what I meant. They're like how their age physically correlates with their maturity. As
So,
in, like, because they almost certainly don't age at the same rate that humans do.
I mean, I feel like in some cases it's implied that they barely age at all.
Okay, but at what point are they considered, like, mature? Like, adults, is the thing.
I mean, they can theoretically have eggs at any stage in their lifespan.
That is odd, yeah.
So
Don't question it too much, basically.
if you're talking about sexual maturity, then that's a... The answer is... But, yeah, it's like... Assuming...
The other thing...
okay, yeah, go ahead.
The other thing is also, their relative levels of sapience compared to their human partners.
Well, it's implied... It's implied that all Pokemon are just fully sapient, intelligent beings. Right? Like, that much, at least, we know for a fact.
Yeah.
So, what's the problem, then?
No, that was my, my primary quibble was, like, how does that maturity thing work? It was my, quibble.
Yeah, so basically, long and the short of it is, it's implied that they are fully sapient individuals. Like, across the board. Because any Pokemon can theoretically... like, make intelligent decisions and stuff. So yes, you don't have to worry about that aspect of things. Any other concerns?
None that come to mind immediately. I'm sure Mill would bring up some other things.
Yes,
but,
he absolutely would. Though I think he's also, like, listen. All I'm saying is, this may or may not be a setup for us to do a Pokemon Smash or Pass.
Fuck. You're going to try to push for Muck to be in Smash, aren't you?
Oh god, no. I have standards. I'm, like, offended you even suggest that, honestly. Oh, I had 400...
Sometimes you like being a bit of a gadfly.
That's the first time I've been referred to as that, and I'm okay with it.
Oh, did you get killed?
No, I won.
Oh, nice.
Or rather, I survived. You have to survive a certain number of rounds.
Was it like 15 rounds
18.
or something?
18 rounds.
18.
Well, no. You either... So, how it is like, you have to get to 10 wins or lose 5 times. But then, after you hit 10 wins, you can opt for survival mode, where you have to... Oh, no. It's time. It's time to duel.
Couldn't help it. Ooh.
We going full children's card game now, boys. But anyway, on the subject of it being time to duel. So yeah, oh, okay.
So would the Smash or Pass tier list, I assume, would be the actual Pokemon and not the trainers?
Obviously.
I don't know.
What
There's plenty of adult trainers.
Yeah, what would be the point of that?
You're right, that would be a bit much.
Like, we don't need to be horny on main. Just because we choose to be horny on main does not mean we need to be.
The other question with such a tier list would be, would we stick to it just being those 2 tiers?
No, so I think because it would be a simple enough thing to do, we should just have a Smash or Pass for each of us.
That would be a bit hard, because that'd be more of a Venn diagram, and the whole thing doesn't really allow for that.
Well, no.
The way the website's formatted.
Literally just Fuzzy Smash, Fuzzy Pass, Jack Smash, Jack Pass, Mill Smash, Mill Pass.
Oh, if what one character, one Pokemon meets multiple of those.
Oh, you're right. I forgot that we can you not duplicate the images in the tier?
No, you cannot.
Oh, okay. That makes things more awkward then.
Yep. We'd have to argue. Or we could just do a standardized tier list.
Yeah, no, let's just do the simple Smash or Pass then. And we'll argue each Pokemon. But yes, you get where I'm coming from, though.
I get where you're coming from.
The revolution will, in fact, be televised. But, yeah, so, what I'm trying to say is that, the issue of banging Pokemon is not necessarily one of, dubious consent, because, for the most part, Pokemon do consent to the Pokemon trainer relationship, and in the cases where they don't, it's never treated as a good thing. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, we're gonna ask Mill about this, of course.
You don't want to just, like, go for it?
Oh no, I'm fine with it, but Mill's consent is also important here.
No, of course,
as
yes.
it were. Like, it would be rude to just spring it off.
No, obviously. You know me. You know that I value consent.
I think pretty much every decent human being does.
Yeah, but that does exclude a lot of people.
Yeah, but those people aren't decent people, so it's fine excluding them from that particular conversation.
Oh, you want to talk about the World Noble Genocide question?
Okay, going there already, that's fun.
No, we'll save that for when Mill's on. We'll save that for when Mill and Gen are on. Because that's gonna be...
I don't know if that'll happen soon, but yeah.
It will be a wild ride, though.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so, here's another, thing that I've, been thinking about.
Oh boy.
Which is related to the Pokemon question.
Okay.
So, a lot of Pokemon trainers are, in fact, young people.
Yes.
So, if you, for example, catch a Pokemon as a child, and then, you know, later on, you know.
Yeah.
In that case, is that technically a childhood friend scenario?
Kinda?
Right? Because, like, they do always make a big deal about how Pokemon are friends.
Hmm. Yeah, it is. Maybe. Yeah. It's a hard question, really.
That's what I'm here for. You know how I feel about asking the hard questions.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just one of those things that, you don't necessarily think about all the time, but then when you do, you're like, huh. There's something there. Look. I play the legendary White Eyes Blue Dragon. Completely legally distinct.
So, do you believe in the heart of the cards, Fuzzy?
I mean, have you seen my deck?
Yes.
I've got a lot of hearts. Look at them. Got 2 of them. Half my deck is hearts.
Honestly, this will never make it into a work of fiction, but wouldn't it be funny if there was a whole bit about someone in like a really high-stakes poker game, and they're just like, I can win this because I believe in the heart of the cards, and it cuts to them losing, and they're like, I always knew Yu-Gi-Oh was full of shit.
Why wouldn't that happen?
Probably because it'd be a kind of a niche joke for some people. And also because it might feel mean to some people as well.
Since when has that stopped anyone from doing anything?
True. Are you going to get the Slem?
Well, no. I have a hollow fire lizard over here.
I mean, you could get both. You have the money.
Oh, I do. Huh. Well, hang on, I need to do some inventory management here. Or rather, I need to...
So are you looking forward to Saturday's podcast?
What were we doing on Saturday?
Roasting Attack on Titan.
Oh, yes.
Thought so.
Look, I'm a simple man. I have simple wants, and seething over crappy media is one of my favorite pastimes.
Mm-hmm.
I love to seethe.
But do you like to cope and mauled?
It depends on the situation. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is that if you bang a Pokemon, you're not necessarily a criminal.
That's a good sign. I mean, there is also just the issue of do they pass the Harkness test?
Well, we talked about the Sapiens earlier, and the consensus seems to be that yes.
True. You know what the Harkness test is, right?
Yes, the general. It's basically a generalized Sapiens test, isn't it?
So it is. Is the individual humanoid? Hold on, let me look it up actually.
Okay. I think you don't necessarily need to go for humanoid because, like, a lot of people.
Humanoid. So let me look it up exactly, so I can remember, or rather. So the criteria are: does the individual have human intelligence or greater? Can it talk or otherwise communicate with language? And is it of sexual maturity for its species? If it meets all three of these criteria, then it's safe to bang.
And I believe that if you are discerning enough, obviously there are going to be creeps out there, right? Like, yes, that is just a given. But there's basically... It's quite easy to find Pokemon that meet those criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Ergo, most Pokemon are in fact safe to bang. Okay, there's one question that I want to save for when Mill's on stream. Also, my little baby dragon has evolved. Look at him. Look at his little face. He's adorable.
Nice. Such a cutie patootie.
The problem, though, is now I'm going to have to, like, rework my entire spacing again. So, yeah, the basic premise of this is idioms.
Mm-hmm.
They often translate poorly.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. How much do you think an idiom can tell you about a given culture?
Quite a bit, depending.
The reason I bring this up is that there's quite a few... as you know, I read a lot of Chinese web novels.
Yes.
And what I found is that there's quite a few Chinese idioms that are, shall we say, a bit more of the yikes varietal than one
You
might
have mentioned this.
enjoy.
Yes.
And the reason I bring this up is, like, so a lot of the times, beauty is seen as something that drives you to madness. Obviously. That's just, like, that's not really, unique to Chinese media. That's just, like, a theme in a lot of, cultures. Is the whole beauty shall inevitably bring out the beast, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, one of the... And here's the thing. While I would love to go full judgmental mode, we do also have to remember, I don't know if these idioms are translated properly.
That is also the thing, yes. Like,
So,
you have to know the language to know, languages to know how well the translation, you know,
yeah.
transcribes them.
Which is why I'm like, you can never really tell. And that's both frustrating and, like, confusing to me a lot of the time, because as you know, I am of the autism variety.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that's relevant is because idioms are hard for me at the best of times.
Idioms are hard for a lot of people, to be fair.
And what I'm trying to say is essentially, while a lot of idioms do make some degree of sense if you think about them,
Yes.
it adds an, like, even after you filter them for whether they make sense or not, you also have to take into account things like, do they translate well? Are they properly described, like, in context? There's so many things you have to take into consideration when you are talking about idioms that it just, like, it can drive one up the wall.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm just like, well, what do you do at that point? Because, like, there's not a lot you can do in many situations.
Sink into despair.
Yeah, but, like, what if you need to be productive?
Yes. The age-old question. To product or not to product? So, out of curiosity, what proportion of the web novels you read are genre?
I'd say a solid, like, 80%.
That tracks, especially with what I know of your genre preferences.
Look, I like people punching galaxies to death, and genre is the only genre where that regularly happens.
Yep. That is accurate from what I understand.
And, like, as a direct consequence of this, I have a preference for genre, but I also understand that it can be a divisive genre, and especially I understand that, like, a lot of it is trash.
I mean, to be fair, with most genres and subgenres and so on and so forth, you can
It's
generally
Sturgeon's Law.
abide by Sturgeon's Law.
So, you know what? There's actually because I have a large enough sample size, I can actually give you a harder number.
Oh ho? Please elaborate.
I have read close to or exceeding 100 genre novels.
And what proportion of those would you say is good versus trash?
4.
4 are good.
I found about 4 good ones.
And of the rest, on a scale from 1 to, let's say on a scale from 1 to, what's a good measure mark for bad? On a scale from 1 to Game of Thrones ending, how bad are those?
I would say that a lot of them are more mediocre than anything.
That seems accurate, yeah.
But there's just a lot of ingrained misogyny and, like, racism
That
and
surprises me
sexism.
not at all.
So it's just like... It's just, there's very few really good ones.
I feel like the ingrained stuff is very much a cultural thing.
It absolutely is, yes.
Like, most cultures around the world, including Western cultures, have some degree of ingrained
I got the
bigotry.
I got a Black Lotus.
Nice. But did you get an Iron Lotus?
No, those aren't a thing.
That was also a reference to something, don't worry about it.
Yes, but, Jack, have you played many, Oh no. I'm facing someone with the same build as me, but, like, they have more weapons.
Oof. Yeah, I think you're gonna lose that.
No, I have, like, 134 health to their 0, so... As it turns out, my fully grown chonker of a dragon is stronger than their baby dragon. You know how
So
I
are you
feel
about
about
to say-
murdering babies.
Yes. All for it.
Well, if the occasion calls for it. It's a very much a festive thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. So what were you trying to say before cut off?
About the whole murdering babies thing.
No, before that.
Yeah, do you play many or any children's card games?
Not anymore.
Is there a particular reason for it, or...?
I just have not had the cards or the time.
It does often come down to that, yes.
Like Magic the Gathering, for example, not exactly a short or easy commitment, is it?
Magic the Gathering is a game you play if you have money.
And I do not.
If you
I have money.
Yeah, so you need one of two things to be able to properly play Magic the Gathering. Disposable income, or the ability to ignore disposable income.
Yep.
I'm eventually going to need to reorganize my bag because I do not have the optimal card build. This is not how you're supposed to set up the deck. But, oh god, they have 2 blood armors.
They have 3 sets of armor total, that's insane. And a shield.
And 3 weapons.
I see they're going full stone wall rather than mage.
Still beat them.
Yep. Not stone wall, they went,
So as it turns out, believing in the heart of the cards has many practical benefits. I'm just gonna have to, like, dump everything.
Yep.
Okay. You go here. But yeah, I've basically found that good old children's card games are a wonderful hobby if you can afford it. Granted, even in the digital era, it's not that easy. Because, like, you know that a lot of card games have gone digital, obviously.
Yes.
But even that's not exactly the easiest thing to afford. So I'm kind of just like, well, I enjoy playing children's card games, but I guess I'm just gonna have to not do that because it's, like, way too expensive. And I'm just like, while I wish that were not the case, sometimes you just have to accept reality.
Yep. Pew pew pew.
But yeah, sorry if I'm getting a bit distracted, but this is this does require you to engage in some 5D chess on occasion.
Fun times.
But yeah, I've basically come to the conclusion that you are going to have to... Oh, I'm gonna die super hard. Unless... Oh, never mind, Where did 83 armor come from?
I don't know. I think it was either one of your dragon cards or one of your lover's cards.
You're right, it is my White Eyes Blue Dragon does give me armor. Oh no, it's another Black Lotus. I'm gaining so much mana and I don't have anything to spend the mana on, so that's kind of funny.
Yeesh.
I mean, that's just a textbook first world problem right there.
So, are you gonna be playing card games on motorcycles, as it were?
I wish, but I don't have the... As we've established, I lack the necessary disposable income.
Yes. I get it.
Children's card games ain't cheap. And...
They are not cheap.
It's kind of tragic in many ways, because I do wonder how often great talents are buried under the thrall of capitalism.
More than can be counted easily.
Yeah, so the reason I bring this up is that I've been thinking about, like, for example, the fact that a lot of sports, right, are very, very expensive to participate in as a child.
Yep.
So how many great sports ball players do you think have been just completely shafted by the fact that they are not wealthy enough to afford to play as children?
More than can be counted, feasibly. I do think it is a number beyond counting. Like, I do feel like many, many, many talented people have been lost to the sands of time because...
Capitalism.
Yeah. Well, not just capitalism, also exploitation and classism as well.
Oh yeah, that's
just
definitely...
being on the unfortunate receiving end of those kinds of general fuckeries, as it were.
I'm struggling, man. This is,
Don't worry, Fuzzy, you got this.
I don't think I do, is the thing. Yeah, this is somehow worse than the build I had going before, so... Frick me, I guess.
Is how it is. Can't be helped.
Okay, here's something I've always going on about, but I still don't understand it. What is up with people referring to celebrities by their first name?
I don't know. I wish I could tell you. My understanding of it is just...
Is it like a parasocial thing?
Some combination of parasocial familiarity, as it were, and just the general idea of, I must refer to this person by their first name, elsewise something or other.
Yeah, I can see where they're coming from, but it's just like, I so often see this happen, and I'm just like...
It's dumb.
I don't necessarily... I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to call it dumb, which... Shocking, coming from me, I know. But... I do feel it's like... It's got a bit... It's the energy is a little bit weird, to me, personally.
It is kind of wonky, yeah.
I mean, you say that, but don't you also do it occasionally?
Occasionally, but sometimes it's just like... Because a given individual has, because, like, again, some celebrities do have relatives who share the last name. So if I said Hemsworth, you wouldn't know which Hemsworth brother I'm talking about necessarily.
Yeah, I just default to using the full name for every celebrity. It's like, to me...
That is how I usually go as well.
To me, right, and this may be a controversial opinion. Celebrities aren't really people? And I don't mean that...
disagree.
Well, no. I don't mean that in the, in, like, a dehumanizing sense, even though that is exactly what it sounds like I mean. I mean that in the sense that, as far as I'm concerned, when you become a public figure, you are to some extent sacrificing your personal identity.
See, I don't really agree with that entirely.
Why would you say that?
I think that, like, even becoming a public figure, you are entitled to a certain sense of selfhood and privacy.
Okay, I would say yes on your own time, but when you are acting in your capacity as a public figure, you kind of have to take into account that, like, yes, this is what you kind of signed up for. By being this, public figure.
I mean, there is also just the issue of sort of dehumanizing public figures by, you know, treating them less as people and more just like as statues to be looked at and.
Well, no, I'm not saying in that sense. See, you're so we're going at this from two different directions. You are going at this from the direction of to treat a public figure like this is in a dehumanizing sense. I'm going at it from they are in such a position of privilege that they've sort of like it should be considered an acceptable trade that in exchange for this like massive amount of privilege they are sort of agreeing to a more less of a like I'm not good at articulating points like this, but basically what I'm trying to say is they already have more power than the average person. There is already a power imbalance, and that's why it is more useful to treat them as an entity than as a person, in the context of the power dynamic.
So, I don't fully agree with that, in part because I think it is important to treat every person as a person, and taking the approach that you are suggesting does leave open the very real possibility of people going in the opposite extreme and just straight up idolizing people.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that already happens. The celebrities, like, the celebrity culture for many people is the new polytheistic idolatry. Right? Like, you know what I'm talking about with regards to this. There are some truly unhinged fandoms out there. To some extent, not just fandoms, but to some extent, a lot of celebrities even encourage this. Right? Because it's good for the brand. So I'm like... I'm like, to a certain extent, if you have already built up a culture where you are an idol that is worshipped, then at that point you do have to accept a certain amount of dehumanization. Because
I don't think anyone should ever have to
not dehumanization. Dehumanization is the wrong word, and I fully understand that. That's just me being bad at articulating my point. You should accept a certain degree of like entityhood.
I don't agree with that. I do believe that everyone should be... People in positions of privilege or power should be under more scrutiny than the average person. I don't feel like that should take away from their basic human rights, which include, you know, stuff like privacy.
No, I don't look like... Okay, so...
Basic human rights should be universal no matter what your position
I agree
is.
with that. I'm not disagreeing. Because again, I'm just bad at articulating my point. The point
You can't call in Gen on this one. You can't call in Gen on this one.
Look.
You can't call in your big brother to argue for you.
Listen.
Like you said the last time.
Look. When you're losing, it is just logical to call in to hand the controller to your big brother so he can, like, beat their asses for you. No. So, I agree. I'm not talking to the extent of basic human rights or lack of privacy. I'm saying their level of accountability needs to be increased, for one thing.
I mean...
I'm sure you agree with that.
That's pretty straightforward.
But also... What I mean by them having to accept a certain degree of entitization is that when you are an entity rather than a person, let's say, that doesn't mean you don't have the same basic rights, but it does mean that you have a proportionally increased level of responsibility, accountability, and also an understanding that your life will not be like everyone else's life.
I mean, on the one hand, yes. On the other hand, like, treating people as different in that regard, just because of the position that they... In a lot of cases, a position they were born into, that's not good for their mental health. Like, it does a serious fucking number on a person's mental health for that to be the case.
Now that is true.
Did you know that wealth, like, to a certain degree, just straight up poisons a person's brain?
Yes. No, I'm aware of this.
Yeah, so I am of the opinion that people shouldn't be treated too differently on account of their circumstances, so long as such circumstances... But
then you get into the whole, affluenza thing.
Yes.
Right? Where it's just like, just because you're wired differently because you're rich doesn't mean you get away with shit.
No, I agree that everyone should be held accountable. Ooh. I don't like those horn sounds.
I don't even know what makes the honking noise, actually.
But yeah, no, I 100% agree that people should be held accountable. I never made made any attestations otherwise. My whole thing is, I'm trying to decide on your path, right? Yeah. Also, I do find it funny that it is called affluenza.
I mean...
It is probably the most appropriate name for it, yes.
Yeah, that's about it. Like, what else are you gonna call it?
I will be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, while I'm all alone, this game is a lot of fun. However, there's like, as with all competitive games, it can get a bit samey at high levels just because, like, you have to accept the fact that there's a limited number of items in the game, there's a limited number of builds, and as a result, you will inevitably get builds that have to go for Like, you will inevitably get a lot of the same builds over and over again, and that's just kind of the cost of doing business, because without that, you just fall into a situation where, I mean, yes, it's a fun game, but, like, you run out of things to do after a certain period of time. It's finally time to sell one of these rocks. But yeah, because, like, you can't really get far in ranked without being super sweaty, which is kind of just, like, the cost of doing business. For example, I am trying to make a cross-blades build work here. For those of you who know what a cross-blades build is, you know that that's just not meta at all, right? Like, it's just not done. And you have to sort of accept that to a certain extent, but I don't want to accept that at the moment. I want to, like, do the fun build, even if the fun build isn't, like, good. So... Why does that thing keep quacking? I swear, I'm gonna... God damn you, Jinx Tortilla!
Are you fucking around with the mill?
Yes, I am.
Oh my god, I
do think the timing of your arrival is very funny, because I heard you pop in right as I was about to leave when Fuzzy said, since I'm alone here now...
You...
I didn't realize you'd gone, so I was expecting somebody to notice the quacking a lot earlier.
Why I oughta...
And when nobody noticed it, I just kept quacking. Why not?
That was a very excellent point.
Also,
I'm surprised you didn't notice earlier, Fuzzy.
well, I was hoping to get Fuzzy, because I'm assuming the same thing is occurring for him that occurs for me when I stream, which is that Discord turns off notification sounds, and therefore...
Yes, oh, yes, I did not...
Somebody can sneak into the voice chat without you realizing, and then suddenly, holy shit, there's somebody new in there. Also, the Discord stream is really freaking out.
Yeah, no, I'm just straight up not getting any signal, really, so I'm just watching the Twitch stream instead. It's easier for me that way. Also, Fuzzy and I more or less agreed on making a new tier for the One Piece characters tier list.
Also, Mel.
Yeah.
We're doing a Pokemon Smasher Pass.
Oh, great.
Oh, would you like to...
Trainers.
No, would you like to reiterate the conversation? Like, would you like to fill Mill in on the, conversation we had about that?
So, Fuzzy and I, came to the conclusion that, Pokemon as a whole, passed the, Harkness test to such a degree that, discussing them as, partners in that sense is, more than reasonable.
Good for you.
You know, you're familiar with the Harkness test, right?
Yeah, I know what the Harkness test is.
Okay, good. Oh, rip.
Now, what's your issue then?
No. It's just not something that, you know, I see myself... Put it this way, a few years ago I didn't see myself in this position.
You know what? That's completely fair and reasonable.
Did any of us really?
No.
I mean, maybe not doing it on stream, but I defy you to say you didn't expect to be doing the Pokemon Smasher Pass.
Okay, in my defense, I just didn't even know what a Smasher Pass was. If I did, however, yes, I would absolutely have expected to do one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But we also, like, talked about the fact that, technically speaking, a romantic relationship with your Pokemon could be interpreted as a sort of childhood friend sort of deal.
Depending on how long you've had said Pokemon, yes.
Which is just adorable to think about.
Honestly, childhood friend romances are underrated.
I think it's, like, mostly because, it's too hard to stomach for a lot of people. Because they're like, God, I wish that were me.
Those people are weak.
I think there's also, to a certain extent, like, this sort of, it can be sort of similar to the whole, step sibling romance, I feel like.
Ah, yes, because there's yes, when you grow up with someone, it's the old what's that called?
Again, it's not every time.
You mean the Westermark effect?
Yes, yes. Though I recently learned that there's actually been some discussion on that.
Debates about that one.
Yeah, where it's like been called into question of late.
Yeah, as to how
Accurate it is.
accurate that is. Hard to say, honestly.
Because apparently the original sample size, like the original study, was done in a very specific setting with a very specific sample. And that may not be representative of the rest of the world. Wow, I just lost. Outright. Not only did I lose outright, I think I'm gonna have to head out. One moment, please. I will be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
So yeah, are you familiar with the Westermark effect, Mill?
I am not now.
So the Westermark effect basically is a theory that posits that individuals who grew up together from about age 6 or younger will see each other as siblings more than they will see each other as prospective romantic partners, which is why siblings, as a general rule, don't have any attraction to each other whatsoever. Now, there are flaws in that theory, including known examples of childhood friends from younger than 6 developing romantic feelings for each other over the course of their lives. So, like, it's not exactly a foolproof theory, but it's been a commonly accepted one for a while, up until more recent scrutiny has kind of put more skepticism in it, you know?
I believe the original study was conducted in a very insular, like, religious community.
That tracks.
And that's why that was not taken into account in the study. And that's why there's been a lot of debate over it.
Mm-hmm. Again, that tracks. Like, insular religious communities are not really good sample sources.
Also, I had, like, a spicy topic that I was gonna wait for Mill for. Sadly, that's gonna have to wait until next time, because like I said, I've got a hard stop at 8, so it's my fault I woke up a bit too late today. But, thank you everyone for joining us for a short stream of Backpack Battles, where we did not turn on the chibis, because that is way too horny on main.
Yeah.
Like, Mill, I'll stream it after we end the stream, but to give you an idea to the audience, leaf undergarments and nothing else, ribcage on top and nothing else. So, you know, we may talk about banging your Pokemon childhood friends, but in this house we do not show cleavage.
I mean, there is cleavage in.
Okay, yes, the Reaper has cleavage, but like we do not show the horny. We only discuss the horny for legal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, thank you everyone for joining us. On Saturday will be our long-awaited roast of Attack on Titan, which
oh boy.
is going to be a lot of fun. Sunday will be...
Probably the character tier list.
Yes, the One Piece character tier list. And Tuesday will be either Persona 5 Royal or some other form of video game.
Yep, look forward to that.
I will...
I'm not closing Tuesday or Thursday next week, so hooray.
I swear to God, I will
Right.
get the goddamn Parsec server up and running. I've already logged in and made an account on Parsec, so now I just have to learn how to apply it and then also get a PS2 emulator so that we can play One Piece Pirate Carnival.
Nice.
I mean, the best PS2 emulator that I've found is PCSX2.
Yes, it's PCSX2, yes, no.
Yeah.
I know what the PS2 emulator is, it's just installing it can be a pain and a half sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Not
yes,
surprising.
it will happen. I swear to you.
Regardless, thank you everybody for watching. Give us a follow on Twitch if you have not already, and all the YouTube stuff that Mill will never say because he insists he has dignity.
Like, subscribe, give us a follow, leave a comment if you are outraged by the idea that Pokemon consent to going in the ball, as it were. Please yell at me. I feed on it.
Run from it, it arrives all the same.
But yes, thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Later.
Good night.